Okay, so hello once more. This is where we stopped our last project, and now we can go ahead and jump into the next part. Probably after this, we will jump to VJS. But let's see. So, first of all, right now I want to start explaining the for loops, which are quite important for developing. So we don't need this one. Let's go here. And all right, I'll just remove this and I will ask our agent to give us the loop examples. And let's see what it does and what it gives to us. Okay, it gave us some examples, and now we can start going through them. So what do we have here? This is a for loop where we have this variable I, which is 0. So we start from the 0. I is less than 5, and we add on each iteration we add 1 to I. So here what we would have is iteration plus I. So this is the output we should have. And this is the same thing done for those variables, but we will get there. So if we go now, I use the live server. Where is the live? Okay. We are not, live server is here. So if we open up, okay, here. And if we open up the console, you see, here we have it. Like, I'll just comment this out, the second part, and we can check it here. So there is our iteration. Like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because this one stops when we get to 5. And I will explain shortly why we need this whole iteration. So now we can comment this one out and go here and comment this. So now you see we have this tax brackets 10, 12, 22, 24, and 32. So what we are doing here is this tax brackets length and I++. So this one actually, tax brackets length, is the length of this array. So we are doing this operation for each of those, and when we reach the final one we stop. Like we do another iteration on the final one and we stop. So here, like I equals to 0, then we go here, and this is a string actually, as you see, but inside this string we use this like syntax to have the variables. So let me just make it a little bit bigger. So here you see this is I plus 1. So this should be added. And here let's check it out once more. You see tax bracket 1 equals to 10%. Tax bracket 2 equals to 12%. And why this happens? Because like here on the first part, the I is 0. So we need to add 1 to like explain that we are saying about the tax 1, like tax brackets array, the first position, because the thing is, like, not everyone understands that in the array 0 is the first one. So that's why we need this. If we had only this here, like this, without 1, and okay, here you see it's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's why we need to add this 1. And imagine instead of this array here, we had array of, I don't know, couple of hundreds of objects in which we would need to change, I don't know, to add some value to them, to all of them, like to add a text to 200 people. Like that's why we need the for loop. So until it finishes, until it reaches the end of the loop, it would do the same operation that we have here for all of them. Okay, so now let's move to the next one. So I just copied it from here to here. So what does the while loop do? So we have this counter. So yeah, here we have a counter variable, and what does it do? Like this while loop, this one, which is a built-in function, this while loop will execute this operation while this is true. So counter is less than 3, so we have 0 here. It would go and print this out in the console. Then on the next line we have this counter plus plus, which makes the counter to become more and more by 1 each time, adds 1 to 0 and to 1 and 2 and so on. Otherwise this while loop would continue on infinitely and our browser would probably crash because it would definitely run out of the memory. So yeah, that's how it works. So now and the difference here between for loop and while loop is that for loop runs until it reaches the end, but while loop runs until something is true, or so, like until here we have true. If this was false, it wouldn't run at all. But for loop is different. Like in for loop, you give the number, and like it's hard. I mean, with the while loop, it's easier to get into the loop, infinity loop, which would crush it. But with for loop, it's harder because, yeah, this when you have only this value as a true, and it's easier to forget this. And for the for loop, the simplest example is that you have this plus plus inside the inside the loop itself, the condition. Without it, it won't run. So it would crash or give an error or something. So it's easier here than in the for loop. So anyway, this is the while loop. So while something is true, do this. Like imagine you need to warn, I don't know, give the warning to like everyone while there is a huge storm incoming. So what would you do? So while the storm is true, send out warnings. Like not every second, but every 10 minutes or so on. So that's the purpose of the while loop. So now let's see. Yeah, we have this counter 0, 1, 2. If we would change this value here to 10, it would go up to 10 and it would finish with 9 because it is doing it until it reaches that last one, last part. So when it's 10, it's not true and it stops. Now let's go here and check this out. What does this do? Okay, I shouldn't have uncommented this because this is the comment itself. So our balance is 1000, right? Yes. Another, so years are 0. So while balance is 2000, less than 2000, balance, okay, that's what we do. Like, so we change the balance with 1.0 point, like, yeah, 1.05. And we do the plus plus to the years. So we grow in the years, let's say. And we are we are doing this console log here. So why we are using this compound? Okay, compound interest until target is reached. All right, so we are raising this balance until it reaches 2000 and then it stops. Actually, on one of those iterations, it may cross 2000. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, as I said, it crosses 2000 because this was the balance before. We did another calculation and it got to this one. So yeah, that's how it is. All right, and this is also the while loop. Let's jump into the next one. All right, so what we have here. This runs the code first and checks the condition. Okay, there's a user input, there's a number, while user input is less than 10. Validation example. Okay. All right, let's see how it works. Okay, we need to do the input. Let's give it 20. And let's set 50. And what it does? Okay, not sure, to be honest. Hello, what are you doing? Parse float from enter tax rate. Okay, I understand it. So what it did is that while we crossed this while because it was not, the input was not 10. So now let's see what happens if we enter 10, or not 10 but 5. Enter the number greater than, okay, 10 again. It still asks for it. And you know why? Because we have this while loop. And it doesn't get to the bottom. So if we enter 15, enter the tax rate 0 to 10. That's because it reached this point and it like crossed this part. So this one is a little bit more complicated. I wish we had a little bit like simpler example, but that's okay. Like for now, you can just ignore the doing of the Claude sonnet because yeah, to get around this is a little bit tricky. Okay, this one will be more interesting, I would say, because now we are iterating through the object. Property in tax info. So the properties here are those ones. Those are the properties. So we will iterate through all of these properties and we will console log them here. So what we have here, okay, we need to refresh. Income is 50,000, rate is 22, deduction is 12,000. 12? Oh, yes, and state is California. So yeah, that's how it works the for loop for the object itself. It iterates through the object, like this one. All right, what we have here, this one, here we have the array of values, and what we do, income of incomes, and we calculate this, then console log it. All right, let's go here. Okay, yeah, it's simply the same, to be honest. Nothing new here. We don't need this. Let's go. This is new. So here we can also iterate through the strings, the characters of the strings. And this one is the example. Like the tax code is this string, as you see. Like you see, the const tax code is this one. So this is the value of the tax code. So we can for loop over, like do the loop over it, go through each character and console log them. So now we would have this 1040 easy vertically in our console. You see 1040 ENZ. Yeah, that's how we can loop through the strings. What else can we do? Array methods. Is this interesting, to be honest? Okay, this is another type of for loop. So here you see, this is the for each. And the thing is, let's make it a little bit more simpler, just for beginning. Okay, expense, for each expense, console log expense. So this does same as the for loop for now. That's enough explanation, I would say. So you see, it goes through all of them and console logs them, all of them. There are some differences, but it's not right now it's not important. We can dive into it a bit later because it's a bit more complex than this one. But whatever you can do is like for each, like just for loop, the ones we had before, like this one. Oh no, not this one. Sorry, here, like for this one, we could do the same for this one. But here we have like input number. Instead of this, we would put like, let me copy this. Okay, instead of this 5, we would need to put expense.length, which is the length of the array. So we don't need the iteration, we would just console log the expense. And just an expense, we don't need anything else. And we don't need it. In this case, we don't need this brackets because we are just using the but not like this, expense and I would say, because we are using this one. And now if we do it, so you see this is how it shows because of this one. And here we have expense and it shows the same thing. If we had removed this, it would be the same. Okay, let's remove this and down here. All right, so what does this do? So we have here the loop and we have the function which has in expense and index. So yeah, the index is quite important part. So when you do the for each of those has the index and you will see it here. Like, let's also comment this one and let's see what those would type out. All right, so this is the first one, this is the second one, and there's no difference actually, as you see. This one is just a function thing, and this one with the arrows. This is just a way, and honestly, I prefer this way of writing a code over this one, to be honest. because it's more like, I don't know, I'm more used to this one rather than this one. So yeah, you can write this like this one, and it would have this function, and yeah, would do the same thing actually. All right, so let's see what we have, what more we have. Okay, so map loop is the same, I would say. It just maps, like this is built-in function, and it just maps over those functions. This is the nested loops, like loop inside the loop. Actually, this is very important, where you need to pay attention not to fall into the infinity loop. And this is break condition, like where you break out of the loop. Instead, like yeah, you let's do it, because this one is a little bit different, so we can also this one. All right, so let's see what we have in the console log here. So it breaks at 9, right? So we have same function, same here, same here. And what does it do? Like, we should not have the, when it's this I is 5, we should not console log this with this break operation. So as you see, we don't have 5 here. 1 2 3 4. The 5 is not there for this one, and it breaks from the loop. So whenever you reach this condition and then you do break, it just breaks out of the loop. And this is actually the same thing if we did this. Like, if this is true, we do break here. So yeah, that's it. That's where we stop it. On the other hand, here what we have, okay, what I did click, okay, here we have those numbers, 10 of them, and if number divided into 2 is 0, then we skip the number and continue. So first of all, this one, what it does, I think we already explained it. So this is something like, if 10 is 0, this would equal to 10 0, and this is math, not like don't it's not written as a JavaScript, but I just want to explain. So if we wrote this one, the result of this would be 0, because 10 divided by 2 is 5, and there's nothing else left. So yeah, so here what we have is that it would divide 1 into 2, and we would have some leftovers, let's say. If we divide 2, it would be 0, it would continue but skip that iteration. It would skip 4, 6, 8. So now let's see what we have. So yeah, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, because it has skipped the rest of those. Like, it skipped 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. That's how it works. And yeah, but I think this is more than enough for loops. You can play with it on your own, and we can continue on with the next one. See you.